Society often tells us that our best years are in our 20s or 30s. After that, it's all downhill. But here's a surprising fact. 40% of female entrepreneurs in the US start their businesses after 40. I believe our 40s are not about slowing down, they're about stepping up. I grew up in a small town in Germany where people spend more time talking about others than chasing dreams. One day I realized if I wanted to have a bigger life, I need to leave the small mindset behind. Things don't always go as planned. Wanting to change doesn't mean it will happen. By the time I was in my early 40s, I was a single mother of two, broke, carrying a lot of debt after losing my previous professional dancing jobs. After struggling through two complicated and challenging relationships, I felt completely stuck, with no clear path forward. One night, I was lying in my bed, tears streaming down my face, and all I could feel was this pressure weighing down on me. Pressure to be a better mother. Pressure to make a relationship work. Pressure to find work that would keep food on the table and a roof over my son's head. I want to give up and find an end to all the pressure and pain I was in. And as my tears continued to wet my pillow, I saw something out of the corner of my eyes. It was a picture of my sons on the side table by my bed. And as I looked in their beautiful faces, I realized in that moment, no one is coming to save me. I had to save myself. I made a decision. Instead of waiting for the right time or the perfect opportunity, I was going to create my own opportunity. And my big idea, bringing pole fitness to Switzerland. The spark, a scene from striptease where Demi Moore moved with strength and confidence around the stripper pole. And this is me, by the way. At the time, it sounds crazy. People laughed and told me it would never work. The investors said I wouldn't make any money with pole fitness in Switzerland, and women wouldn't be interested in. But I believed in it. And more important, I believed in myself and was willing to take a risk. When I started with pole fitness, I had no guarantees and no safeties, but taking that leap changed my life. With my last bit of money and in the age of 40, I flew to Miami to learn pole fitness. And 5 months later, I opened my first studio in Switzerland. When I look back, I realized that I had discovered the first ingredient of success, courage. I took a risk without knowing how things would turn out. Being brave enough to try something new isn't about having no fear. It's about moving forward with our fears. When we age, we begin to realize that having the courage to take a risk is more important than the possibility of failure. as my business grew, and that one studio turned into 15 studios, with a team of 75 women, becoming the biggest pole fitness network in Europe, I began to gain clarity about where I was going. I realized that I could accept my past, but I didn't need to let it define me. Everything you've been through has shaped you, but it doesn't have to limit you. And by the time we reach our glorious 40s, we realize that our past no longer needs to be the burden it once was. We can learn from our past and use those experiences as stepping stones for what comes next. So by the time I turned 45, something happened that I never expected. I found the love of my life. Not just any love. A love built on trust, respect, and mutual support. According to a study of the University of California, women over 40 report having the most satisfied and stable relationships. Why? Because at this age, we've grown emotionally. We finally know what we truly want and what we don't want. Which is why I believe the third ingredient of success is confidence. When we allow love in for ourselves and for others, we find the trust to believe in ourselves. We realize that we are more than enough for ourselves and for any relationships. And this opens the door to all the good things in life. I experienced this myself when I compete for Ninja Warrior. At 50, I was the oldest participant, stepping far out of my comfort zone. It wasn't just a physical challenge, it was a mental one. I had to silence the doubts, push through fear, and believe in my own abilities. I didn't reach the red buzzer at the finish line, but I gained something much more valuable. The belief that anything is possible when we give ourselves a chance. That confidence didn't come from winning. It came from daring to try. So, what's your Ninja Warrior course in life? What's the obstacle you think you can't overcome? If you take that first step, you might just surprise yourself. With the right mindset, this time in your life can be the most exciting chapter yet. Courage, clarity, confidence, the three ingredients of success. The three things that have made the biggest difference in my life, and the three things that could make the biggest difference to yours. I like to challenge you today to take one simple step towards a dream you've had but never started. Take that cooking class. Start writing that book. Run to the salsa lesson. Or even try pole fitness. Here is the truth. Your 40s are not the end. They are just the beginning of the day.